understand what you're saying so that they'll learn. Without good communication, then people won't understand, they won't learn the skills as well, and they won't reach their goals really. So you need to have eye contact so that people will engage in it and use both verbal and non-verbal. So use demonstrations to help the students fully understand. An example of this is a coach teaching the push pass in hockey should first have knowledge on the push pass, know all the coaching points involved in it, and use verbal communication to give coaching points, and then show a demonstration of the push pass to ensure that everyone fully understands. Really eye contact with the students so that they engage in what you're saying and they listen and learn fully. So some comparisons are team versus individual. Um, as a team, you need to have really good communication first, as you'll be speaking to a lot of different people. So you need to come across clearly, use different types of communication so that everybody in the whole group understands. Whereas with an individual, it's a lot easier to communicate. So problem solving is probably a more important skill to overcome problems that the individual might be facing with their performance. Another comparison is the age. So if you're teaching really young students, then again, communication would be the most important skill for you to have as a coach, so that you can use enthusiasm with your communication, and they have a short attention span, so you need to find new ways of making them listen. Whereas if you're teaching an elderly group, you need to problem solve for them of how they can perform and learn new skills or relearn old skills without them injuring themselves. So there's also pros and cons to these. So if you use communication well, then obviously everybody will be understanding and learning well. But if you're not good at communication, then people won't be able to learn anything really, because it's such a vital skill. And here's other pros and cons for problem solving and time management. So the next thing a coach needs to have is qualities. So the first quality is knowledge of skills. Having knowledge of skills in the sport means understanding the techniques involved in the sport and how athletes can work on them to improve. A good coach should have a clear understanding of what the sport involves, techniques that need to be used in the sport, and how to perform them to a high standard. Having good knowledge is so important, as you can't effectively coach without it. You can't teach skills and techniques that you don't understand yourself. You won't be able to identify issues that students have with skills if you can't perform them correctly as well. If you have good knowledge, then you'll be able to make detailed training sessions and learn new tactical moves. So an example of this is a coach needs a basketball coach teaching the jump shot. They'll need to be able to first coach the technique and then see what is wrong and how to improve it. If the coach didn't have the knowledge, then they wouldn't be able to understand what's wrong with the student's skill and therefore wouldn't be able to improve it. So the next, a coach needs to have knowledge of laws. This includes knowing the rules and regulations and fair play really. They need to know the rules and regulations so that they can teach them to their students, so that their students play in a fair way. They should keep up to date on all developments, so that they can enforce the right rules and their players can learn the right rules as they progress. It also keeps coaches and players safe for things like using the right equipment. So an example is a non-elite coach teaching young football players. They should check before every game that everyone has the right size shin pads on for their age group, so that they're all safe and adhering to the right rules. So finally, the coach needs to understand the physical needs of everybody on his team. This includes being aware of the physical needs, how far you can push your players. You should be first aid qualified so that you can deal with any injuries that happen, reduce risks to the players and the coaches. You should check the facilities, lead good warm-ups so that people don't get injured. They need the knowledge so that no one in the training session is pushed too hard and everyone feels comfortable within the session and people aren't at too much risk. So an example of this is a coach teaching a group with physical disabilities. They should have a very clear and good knowledge of all of their needs, to what they can and can't do. If he doesn't do that, then they can make the activities too hard and they'll struggle and risk getting injured. However, if he has a good knowledge then of the group, then he can tailor his sessions to them and they can learn and perform well and learn new skills. So some comparisons, so knowledge of sport, a professional and elite coach will have a huge amount of knowledge. They'll get this from seminars, qualifications and just general experience that they've gained. So they'll also have a big team around them like nutritionists and psychologists, so they can literally just have knowledge on the sport so they can teach their players really well, whereas at an amateur level they won't have as much knowledge as the elite. They'll get their knowledge from watching other coaches, watching games. They'll develop it on their own. They'll learn from their mistakes through trial and error, so they won't have as much knowledge. So physical needs, not elite. This coach could be responsible for a whole team on his own. He'll know his players really well, so he'll know their needs in depth, whereas an elite coach will probably only focus on coaching and improving the players' skills, whereas he'll have lots of other people around him to take care of their physical needs, so maybe won't know them as well. The impact that these qualities will have on the performer is that if a coach has really good knowledge of themselves and their physical needs and also the sport around them, then the performer's going to learn really well. He's going to be safe in the sessions and he's going to get the best experience that he can from his coaching sessions, whereas if the coach doesn't know any of this, then they're going to be minimal and they're not going to learn very much, so not going to develop in their own performance. So next is a coach's characteristics. A coach needs patience. This involves being calm, understanding and level-headed. They need good patience to be able to keep calm, cool and collected in any situation. They'll be able to stay level-headed with any problems that occur during sessions and stay patient with students that are struggling to learn and understand skills that they're being taught. To be patient, a coach needs to be able to take their time and listen to people, so that people can take in their own time, learn these skills and develop as well as they can without being pushed too far. An example when you need to do this is a coach teaching really young children. They have a short attention span, or will take a long time and a lot of encouraging to learn skills, so a coach needs to be patient and keep repeating instructions so the children can fully understand and go away from the session knowing they've learnt something. The next characteristic is being approachable. This means dressing appropriately, being enthusiastic and being really friendly. They need to be approachable so that people feel that they can come to you if they have a problem. They feel comfortable and confident inside the coaching environment or even outside the coaching environment if they've got some really big problems. You don't want people feeling intimidated in your sessions by the way you look, as they won't learn as well if they're feeling uncomfortable in the sessions. An example of when a coach needs to be approachable is if a child is getting picked on or bullied in the sessions, but you don't know about it. The child needs to be completely comfortable and confident around you to come to you and tell you the problems that they're having, and trust you that you'll be able to help them. So the final characteristic a coach needs is empathy. This involves seeing things from other people's point of view and understanding. You need to be able to understand how they feel in different situations and how other things make people feel. It involves listening and being respectful to what people say to show that you care and you'll be able to fully understand their situation. This is really important within the coaching environment as it will encourage people to show that you really care about what you're doing, and so they will too, and also that they know that you'll help them if they're having any issues, but in a good way so they don't feel intimidated. So some positives of having these characteristics is that it will make the performers feel comfortable and they'll learn well in the environment if they feel comfortable and confident knowing that you'll look after them and you understand them. However, it could make them feel too comfortable and too relaxed about the session so that they don't really put 100% and learn as well as they could. So some comparisons is if you've got patience as your characteristic, then this maybe isn't as important when you're teaching elite athletes, as they need to be pushed hard and taught the skill. Well, they already know the skill, so they just need to be pushed to keep practicing and playing. Whereas if you're teaching non-elites, then they don't know the skills. It will take them more time to learn. So patience is a lot more important. So being approachable is a lot more important when you're teaching younger students, as they could feel intimidated and then they won't feel comfortable in the sessions and may not learn as well. Whereas when you're teaching older students, they're more there to learn rather than have somebody to look up to and follow. So you maybe don't need to be as approachable as you do with younger students. The impact these characteristics will have on the coach is that if they are patient and empathetic and approachable, then people will engage more in their sessions, I think. So they'll be able to teach well, get their sessions done without as many people kind of disrupting them. Whereas if they're really standoffish, then people won't feel comfortable and probably won't engage well in their lessons. So they won't get listened to, and the coach won't be able to effectively coach the students that he's got. So here's my bibliography, and thank you for listening to my coaching video.